Hey, friends, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here investigating your favorite movies, and today I'm going to be doing a movie review on Men. Yes, I'm reviewing Men. Yes. Hmm. So it's been a while since I've made a movie review. I feel like lately, especially in the last few weeks, I've been watching more movies where I don't review them in full length, but I only review them in my movie roundup videos. And I feel like I should start doing that for albums as well because I feel like that's going to save me tons of time. I'm also doing meal prep, so that I would have more time doing other stuff than cooking. So yeah, I'm a busy boy. But anyways, today I'm going to talk about the new A24 horror film Men, which is released this year, written and directed by Alex Garland. Alex Garland has apparently written a lot of screenplays for Danny Boyle, another director who has some fantastic movies. And this is, I believe, Alex Garland's third film after Ex Machina, as well as Annihilation, both of which I haven't seen at all. So Men is actually my first Alex Garland film. But as far as A24 horror goes, I've seen several films already. You know A24 with their horror films, The Witch in the Lighthouse, Hereditary and Midsommar. Those are the great ones. But essentially, this is a pretty basic A24 horror film. Yes, it is a horror film, but it's also artsy and abstract. It's not normally paced, but it's not too slow either. The main character, of course, has gone through some sort of trauma, and there are flashbacks to that trauma throughout the film. There's a trippy sequence in the middle, and the third act is insane. This movie has basically gotten the A24 formula down to a T. And yeah, I do wish that this movie would go on and maybe break the mold a little bit, but still, in comparison with other modern, contemporary, English speaking horror films, it still stands out. A24 still rocks after so many years of popping out great movies. First of all, the cinematography is good. This movie is really well filmed. There's a lot of very interesting composition. The lighting is fantastic. And I don't know why, but I feel like ever since I've been studying film in a college, like I'm beginning to appreciate things like lighting and sound recording, like sound design a lot more, especially sound recording. Like there are shots in this movie where I'm just like, where's the boom operator? Where is them? You know, where is the boom operator? How do you avoid the shadow of the boom operator of the boom mic? Because like that's such a freaking problem. And then of course the lighting. Like I was grip for a little short film scene project thing for my film class. And I was working with the gaffer, so I get to play around with the lights as well, and it's giving me a headache. Lighting people, especially in a complicated set, gives me a huge headache. So now I focus on those things a lot. And also, this film is one of the few films that uses vignetting to its own advantage. Like you can actually see the black, like darkened peripheral around the frame. That's vignetting. And again, the reason why I know this is because I've been doing so much research into cameras and lenses lately. But I really like it. I think it's really good. And the color grading is really good as well. A lot of sharp colors. So obviously the cinematography is really well done. I think the acting is great as well. Jessie Buckley is fantastic here. She's also in I'm Thinking of Ending Things, where she also gives a similarly traumatized performance. Rory Kinnear plays multiple roles in this movie, and it really shows his range, and I really like that as well. And yeah, this movie is basically about a grieving woman after I'm not gonna spoil it, but a woman after experiencing some trauma, she's grieving and she goes to some big house in the countryside in the UK to live, just to be stuck in a really weird town full of weird people who are stalkers and gaslighters. And the main message of the film, as you can probably tell by the title, Men, is about how men can be inconsiderate and selfish and even toxic at times. And that is very much true, and that's something that I do not disagree with at all. But this is also a message that's been putting out for a long time already in film, in music as well. And it's true that the message of this film is a little bit ham fisted, but I feel like it's also important for us to look beyond the message and appreciate the other nitty gritty details of the film, like the cinematography, or the dialogue, or even the third act, which is really gross, really insane. I did not expect the movie to go that far. Like, I know it's going to be gross. I know there are going to be some bloody moments here and there, but the third act of this movie is really surprisingly gross. But it's also really interesting because I feel like the third act implies that this masculine toxicity, or the better word for it would be this inconsideration, this selfishness, is a generational thing. I feel like it's implied there, so maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I interpret it. There are some basic jump scares in this movie, don't get me wrong, and I wouldn't say they're bad jump scares. They're well built up, well shot, well edited, but still some jump scares nonetheless. There's the classic moment where there's a mysterious person standing at a far distance, and then the light goes out, and then the light comes back on, and that person has disappeared. Where is that person? It's so creepy. Oh, so yeah, they're a little basic. Do I think these tropes are bad? Not at all. But I still do think that this movie is really abstract, and I like that. I'm a sucker for abstract psychological horror films. And visually and also content wise, this movie has a lot to chew on. It has a lot of room for interpretation, which is really nice. So it's still a solid movie, in my opinion. I still enjoyed it for the most part. And I don't think this is as nearly as terrible as some people say it is. I think it's actually a pretty good movie. Yeah. So I'm giving Men a 7 out of 10. That rhymes. So have you watched Men? From 1 to 10, would you rate it, like, or like, and subscribe one more? And thanks for watching. I would also like to comment on this new wave of A24 films and films in general, with one word titles and with really weird titles like X, and then Men, and like Lamb, and Yorgos Lanthimos is developing a film called And, like A-N-D. I'm not huge on it, but it's interesting to see movie titles evolving so that they could, capture the public and, catch their attention. I think it's interesting. It's going to an interesting direction, but I don't find myself following this trend though. Yeah, subscribe if you want more.